The U.S. men's national team is officially 365 days away from kicking off its 2026 World Cup campaign, and I could not be more excited about it. It's true, we are at what feels like an all-time low based upon our friendlies and based upon the vibe around the team. However, I'm going to choose to focus on the positives, look forward, and think that we are going to bounce back with the players that we have come next summer. Today, we're going to talk about and try and predict what our roster is going to look like come summer of 2026. What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the T26 channel, where we talk about all things related to the U.S. men's national team. And today, we are officially kicking off our Too Early 26 series, where I try and predict who our 26 players are going to be that get called in to the 2026 World Cup roster. And this is going to be a very fun series. It's also going to be a very difficult series for me to get through because, as we've all seen, nobody knows what Mauricio Pochettino is going to do. Nobody really knows who he has stock in. And with this summer window here coming into the Gold Cup, nobody predicted having 16 MLS players on there. So we are really speculating and we're taking our shots. But I think that that's going to be the fun part because we can track our players, see who's growing, see who's producing, and see who deserves to be called in. With that being said, we are going to start where we always do, and that is with our goalkeepers. And in a FIFA tournament like this, you are required to bring in 3 goalkeepers, and there's no reason to do any more than that. So our goalkeepers are going to be Matt Turner, Zach Steffen, and Matt Freese. In this position, it is completely up for grabs. If we're looking at Matt Turner as our starter, he needs to find a new club. He's coming off of a loan at Crystal Palace, where his minutes were very few and far between. He's going back to his home club of Nottingham Forest, where he is, at best, the third choice goalkeeper. We can't have a third choice goalkeeper leading us into the World Cup. There's rumors that he's joining Lyon in France. There's rumors that he's going elsewhere in the Championship or a lower level Premier League side. I don't care where he goes. He needs to start if he wants to remain in contention for this roster. Zach Steffen continues to get called in, and he continues to look decent enough for the Colorado Rapids, but every camp that he gets called in, he seems to leave with an injury. He left the Nations League with an injury where he was supposed to start the third place match, and he left the June friendly and Gold Cup roster because he picked up another injury. While Pochettino may value what Steffen can bring to the table, we currently cannot rely on him. We can't trust that he's going to be fit and healthy. So, yes, he may fit here now, but I would not be surprised if he doesn't make the roster because of his inconsistencies or just truly because he's injured. And finally, we have Matt Freese, who ultimately, he's kind of a long shot. He is that third choice goalkeeper right now, but coming into this summer, he has every single opportunity to play his way into this roster. He looked good enough against Turkey, and Matt Turner continues to look shaky. So there's no reason that Matt Freese cannot earn himself a roster spot here. And truthfully, I think that the goalkeeper competition is wide open. We could see any one of these 3 players start for us in 2026, and I would not be surprised. All right, now let's move on to our defenders, and we are going to bring 9 players that are going to sit across our back line here. And we're going to start with our outside backs. On the right, I'm saying that we're going to see Sergiño Dest and Joe Scally. We know Dest is our number 1 right back. We know he's dynamic. I'm so excited to see him. This camp, this June friendly window and the Gold Cup is proving that Joe Scally is firmly our second right back. None of the guys on this roster can hold a candle to his defending, and that is becoming obviously clear. If we go over to the left, our starter is without a doubt Antonee Robinson. There's no disputing it. He's the best one we have. And as I just mentioned, all of the guys in the current friendly window roster are not cutting it. We've seen gap after gap. We've seen players get beat left and right. So we don't have a lot of depth there right now. My call of who's going to be in here in 2026 is going to be Nathaniel Brown. He's looked good in the Bundesliga. He's looked competent and confident. Now we just need Mauricio Pochettino and the United States Soccer Federation to reach out. This kid is a dual national. He's clearly got ability, and he brings us depth not only at left back, but he can play left wing as well. So there's quality there, there's depth there, and ultimately, all we have to do is reach out. We have to give him a shot. If you have a player that's looking good and comfortable in the Bundesliga, he deserves a shot with the U.S. men's national team. I'm not calling for him to get any minutes. I'm not calling for him to play over Antonee Robinson anytime soon, but he is one of the guys who is best set up to be a depth piece. We've seen the lack of it here in this camp. Brown deserves a shot. As we get into our center backs, we are looking at Chris Richards and Mark McKenzie as our starting pairing. We're seeing more and more that those two are a cut above the rest. Beyond them, I'm saying that we're calling in Tim Ream, Cameron Carter-Vickers, and Miles Robinson. Ultimately, I think Tim Ream only comes in for his leadership capabilities and a little bit of experience. He's the old dog in camp. We see his form and his ability fading, and that's okay. But I think he has a spot here because nobody else is really taking it. Nobody else is pushing him out. You can't tell me Walker Zimmerman is a better choice for us than Tim Ream right now, when Tim Ream is also going to be a better locker room guy and a better leader. Beyond that, Cameron Carter-Vickers, Mauricio Pochettino knows him. He's seen him at Tottenham. He's seen him perform. He knows what he can do. Yes, he's very consistent with Celtic, and no, he hasn't been overwhelmingly impressive with the U.S. men's national team, but when we get to this position and this point, nobody else really is staking their claim. Finally, I'm going to say Miles Robinson because, truthfully, I don't know who else. Right? Miles is looking more athletic than Tim Ream and maybe a little bit stronger defensively, and he's looking more sound than Walker Zimmerman, but not perfect. So I think he's our last choice center back, and if we need a big body, we need somebody who's going to be a little bit more athletic and explosive, I guess we can choose Miles, but ultimately I wouldn't expect him to get a lot of minutes either. Moving into our midfield now, we have a lot to be excited about. We've got 7 players who legitimately could all make a case to start for our roster. I think that currently there's some clear starters and clear backups, but when all in form, we have a lot of depth here and we look very strong in our midfield. So our midfield 7 that I think we're going to call in is Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Yunus Musah, Gio Reyna, Johnny Cardoso, Malik Tillman, and Diego Luna. And I know there's a couple of long shots here, namely Gio Reyna, because he's played so few minutes over the last 2 years. However, he's going to get a move this summer. He absolutely has to, and the rumor mill is swirling around him. If that kid can get some good minutes at a club that suits him and his style, and he can be a consistent starter, I think that we're all going to see that his talent has always been there, and Dortmund just wasn't investing in him. If he can be continuously playing, there's no reason that he can't be a good contributor to this roster and get back to that form that we've seen in the 2022-2023 Nations League, where Gio Reyna was a dominant creator for us. If he gets back to that point, our midfield looks entirely different and incredibly dangerous. So we have him there. Then I think that if we are all healthy, Tyler Adams and Weston McKennie are the option at the 6 and the 8. There's, again, a lot of depth here and not a lot of new faces, because maybe the only one that's new-ish is going to be Diego Luna. I think Diego has firmly staked his claim and shown that he belongs in our A squad, and he's going to help bring us into the fight. He's going to be one of those guys who brings the passion, whether he's playing 10 minutes or 90 minutes. I like the fact that Diego Luna is pushing his way in here, and I will be excited to see him play for years to come. Another name that I think is going to be a little bit surprising to everybody is Yunus Musah. And while he had an abysmal last half of the season with Milan, I think that he still has a place in this roster. I think if he gets a move to a club that's going to let him play and let him make mistakes a little bit and doesn't have the overwhelming pressure that Milan has, we're going to see Musah gain in confidence and hopefully grow a little bit again, because he has stagnated over the last couple of years, and we need to see him take that next step. We were all incredibly excited about what he could bring to the table, especially after seeing him, McKennie, and Adams dominate England's midfield in the 2022 World Cup. If he progressed at that level, he would be absolutely incredible for us. Unfortunately, he's stagnated and he's gotten into a situation that's a little bit too big for him. So I'm really hopeful that we see him get a move this summer and get some consistent minutes without the pressure of Milan. Now let's move to our forwards, and we're going to start with our wide attackers, and I'm calling for Christian Pulisic, Tim Weah, Haji Wright, and Alejandro Zendejas. Weah and Pulisic are locks. There's no disputing that. I want Weah to find a good club that's going to give him consistent minutes on the wing, But even if he stays at Juventus and has that right wing back role, I think he's still a lock for us. He brings a lot to the table: speed, a good shot, the ability to cross the ball, and he's got World Cup experience. That matters. Our depth here is lacking a little bit, and I don't think that Zendejas or Wright are necessarily locks here. But we've seen both players do well on the wing for club and country. Especially right now, Alejandro Zendejas is unbeatable in Liga MX. If he continues that form, there's no way we can keep him out. I'm not saying he starts, but he's looked incredibly dynamic and dangerous, and if we can get a good left foot that can cut in from the right wing, that's something I'm interested in seeing. And for our strikers, if everybody's healthy, it's got to be Balogun, Pepi, and Sargent. Unfortunately, our strikers have been injured over the last 12 months. Balogun's had a shoulder injury, then he's got an ankle injury, Pepi had a knee surgery, Sargent had an ankle injury in the middle of the season that kept him out for quite some time, but he was able to come back. He's not in the June roster, and I'm really not sure why, but I think he belongs here. Has he been great for the national team? No. Can we see his ability at the club level? Yes. And when he leaves Norwich this summer, he needs to go to a club that's going to give him service, where he can continue to have that confidence and play at a higher level. Again, if we're all healthy, Balogun and Pepi are our 1 and 2. I truly believe that. They can both create, they can both find space, they can both finish at an elite level. Anything after those two and Sargent, we see an extreme drop-off in the hold-up play, the link-up play, the ability to create for themselves, and the finishing. Agyemang and Wright, they just aren't it. Damian Downs is still raw. Maybe he can contribute. We'll see what he does in the Bundesliga. We'll see if he gets minutes in the Gold Cup this summer. But truthfully, it's 1, 2, and 3, and then right now, a massive gap. We cannot go into the World Cup with Patrick Agyemang and Brian White. They just don't have it at this level. I wish them the best. They may be really great workers, but we need talent. All right, guys, so that is my full 26-man roster for the Too Early 26 series. I am going to expand on that a little bit and give you my first 3 out, because ultimately, even though this is an expanded 26-man roster, there's going to be some snubs. And my first 3 out are Austin Trusty, Tanner Tessmann, and Brenden Aaronson. I think that Trusty deserves a look. He deserves a shot. He's playing alongside Cameron Carter-Vickers at Celtic, and not just one of them is responsible for their success on their back line. They both are. So I think that we have to make a decision, and truthfully, Austin Trusty here is a snub. I think that we could see him overtake Miles Robinson. I would not be surprised about that. Or Tim Ream. He has a case here. Tanner Tessmann has been trusted and liked and commented on by Mauricio Pochettino, and I think that with another year of growth, he definitely makes a case, especially when we have guys who have historically been underperforming with the national team or not getting minutes at their club. Tanner Tessmann is definitely a snub here, and I can agree that he deserves a shot. And number 3 is Brenden Aaronson. Brenden is a depth piece for us. He is a workhorse. He is an engine. I think that just unfortunately, wherever he goes, whether it's a wide attacking player or in that central midfield, he's too far down the depth chart right now. Hopefully he can grow. Hopefully he gets good minutes with his club this season, whether he's in the Premier League with Leeds or whether he gets a loan somewhere. And he proves me wrong. I'm a big Brenden fan. I like what he does. I like the energy he brings and the fight that he has. But unfortunately, I think he's just a little bit too far down the depth chart for me to put him in right now. That's what I've got for you guys. Let me know what your thoughts are. Who else am I leaving out? Who else am I snubbing? And what does our Too Early 26 look like in your eyes? Leave a like and a comment in the comment section down below, and I'll see you next time.